Welcome to ProCAD Spoolcad software. Let's do a quick demo. Double-click the Spoolcad icon to start the software. In the Drawing Manager, select the standard where you would like to create the spool. I'll use the Twin Lakes project for this demo. Select the New icon to create a new drawing. Give the file name, then double-click the file to open. On the left, you'll see the Spoolcad toolbox. In the lower left, you'll see the active settings. First thing we'll do is we'll add a border sheet. Select the border tool, select the appropriate drawing size. By default, it's 11 by 17. The attribute block opens and we can input the information. And this information can be updated at any time in the current or future drawing sessions. Select OK, and the information is updated as we go. Next, we'll set the active settings. So here's where we can set our spec, our pipe size, our branch size, and a line number if we have one. We'll leave it at the default 4-inch main size, 3-inch branch size. Next, we'll go up and we'll set our auto route feature, which automates component placement. We'll enable it and say OK. Now we'll draw our spool. Start by placing a flange and select which insertion point you would like, face of flange or weld point. We'll pick face of flange, pick on the screen, and the flange appears. If we hover over the flange, we'll have some information about that flange. So it tells us it's 4-inch flange, raised face, weld neck. Now we'll add an elbow, piece of pipe, another elbow, another piece of pipe. So this is all 4-inch pipe. Let's put in a reducing T. Shows us the size that will come in, and we can change it at this point, but we'll just take the defaults, 4-inch by a 3-inch for the branch. Get this information block shows up, says which direction to continue after placing this branching component, and we'll just select the red, which is the default. Let's put in a reducer. Again, we can change the size at this point or just select the defaults. Put in a 4x3 reducer. It's automatically setting our main size now to 3-inch, so it's flipped it for us automatically. Put in another flange to finish off the spool, and puts in a 3-inch flange. I'll turn off my auto route. Let's look at how we can place the component and how it checks for the size for mismatches. So I'll set this back to a 4-inch. Set my isometric setting, and then I'll place a flange. We'll use our AutoCAD object snaps to make sure that we're getting an actual placement and the direction. We see a main pipe size mismatch saying component doesn't match. Do you want it to match? Yes or no. We say match. It will automatically convert it to a 3-inch flange and adjust our main size accordingly. So the next step in the drawing process after we've drawn our spool is to dimension the spool. Again, on our main toolbar, we go to the Utility tab and we select the Dimension tool. You can change the ISO plane. So I'll start by dimensioning up here and work my way around. So I'll change this, select my dimension plane. And then for the first extension line origin, we'll use our AutoCAD object snaps, and I'll pick up the midpoint of the flange to the center of the elbow. It's asking for the dimension line location, so how far away from this line do we want the dimension? I'll just come up here graphically, select, and it automatically places the dimension because it knows the dimensional data for the elbow and for the flange. I can then continue on with my dimensioning, and I'll go now from the center of this elbow to the center of this elbow. Now it gives us a pipe detected, no assigned values. We just give it the overall dimension, and Spoolcad will subtract out the values for the two elbows. So we'll just put in a value, say, of 37 inches. And it shows us the cut length of pipe underneath. We'll just continue, so I'll select my next ISO plane, select the center of my T, down to the bottom. Again, a length of pipe was detected, and we'll put in 54. Continue, finish off to the midpoint of the flange. Again, the values are automatically calculated. I'll add in this last dimension. We now have our spool drawn and dimensioned. Now we can do our bill of material. Select the bill of material tab, select the bill of material tool. Click next. Different formats that we can have. This time we're going to insert it into the drawing, and we're going to list the fittings individually because we need individual heat numbers. We can pick our template. I have 2 templates to choose from. I'll just pick the standard spool. Click Finish. Do you want to add the balloons? We'll say yes. And then it will zoom up automatically on all of my components and fill in the bill of material. We zoom up on our bill of material, take a quick look. We can see all of our components individually placed. We'll notice that the heat numbers they're not there, we can just go to our fabrication tab and select the heat number list tool, and it will now show us all of our components. We can then go in and put in our heat number tags, and it automatically updates the information. So there's part 1. Part 2 is to add the weld list information. So we can go into our fabrication tools tab, select the weld list, select the current drawing. We'll insert this into the drawing. You can add the welder information at this point or add it at a later date. Insertion point just below the bill of material. Add the weld tags, similar to our item balloons. And now we have our weld information. If we zoom up on the weld list, our weld information as well. Part 3 would be to add the weld count. So we click on the Weld Count tool, select the drawing, insert it into the drawing, and we can take a look at it. And it will say number of welds, 2 and 6, the different sizes, the schedule, and the butt welded. The final features of the Spoolcad are some of the automated calculations that can be done, things like the diameter inch calculation, the weight calculation, and our newest paint surface area calculations. Again, on our Fab tab, we can just simply select the diameter inch calculation, and it will give us the total diameter inch for the drawing, and it will automatically update the border information. We have our calculation for the weight, gives us the weight of the spool, and it updates the information in the border. And again, our newest is the calculating the surface area. So we take a look and it will calculate the surface area required for painting. All the values are updated automatically. Lastly, we'll save the drawing, and then finally exit. It's that easy.